And new reports now that Minnesota prosecutor will charge former police officer Kim Potter, who fatally shot 20-year-old Dante Wright, that the charge will be second-degree manslaughter. The shooting, as you know, has ignited 3 nights of violence and rioting, with many protesters looting and stealing from local businesses, crippling the local economy potentially if this goes on. And instead of condemning those crimes, because let's not call them anything else. This is not peaceful protesting that you're watching that I'm calling out. There might be some going on, but what I just said, those are crimes. Prominent voices and organizations on the far left are defending the looting, even, here it comes, redefining it. Here's a tweet. I'm definitely in the camp of defending rioting and looting as a legitimate, politically informed response to state violence. Another with, I'm amazed that the same liberal folk that expect black protesters to be peaceful also support the police in violently responding to the looting. And a far-left organization tweeted this: acts of material liberation should not be filmed. Okay, so you want to commit crimes, but you don't want anybody to see it. Kaylee.
Yeah, that's right. It's crazy, these tweets that you've just put up. What's even crazier is if you go read this Daily Signal article, it talks about the 31 times the media has actually justified this rioting, explained it away, and the links and the headlines are just remarkable. The bottom line is all of these folks who are defending rioting are in fact enabling a much more violent situation. National Review cited a study that found that in the 5 cities that where a viral incident with the police, a viral moment takes off and results in rioting, that they actually saw 900 excess homicide deaths. So this leads to death, to destruction, to chaos. And I would just say to all of these rioters and to those enabling it, just the words of Martin Luther King, who said, they are socially destructive riots. They are self-defeating. And I will continue to condemn riots and continue to say, my brothers and sisters, this is not the way. Let's follow in the footsteps of the great Martin Luther King Jr.
So, I pointed this out last hour. The police have technical language for what a riot is, which allows them to use different crime-fighting materials and methodology and methods to go forth to disperse a crowd. It is not some emotional response, oh my gosh, they're having a riot. It isn't that. It is, oh my gosh, they're having a riot. They are rioting, they are committing crimes, and we need to deploy different types of policing in order to quell the crowd. Why is the far left responding to it in this way? Like, just go ahead and do what you got to do. Do they want a safe space for crime?
Yeah, of course. Look, the far left, which includes a lot of the news media, wants to tear down American civilization. It's not complicated. I was going to mention in your last question about why are people coming, what's the root cause. The New York Democrats just passed a bill to give illegal immigrants $15,000. Now, you think people in Guatemala can't figure out, get to New York and get 15 grand? Cuomo wants you to be happy. And you have all of these things going on. Remember that Kamala Harris was basically for open borders when she was a candidate. The idea that she's now going to lead a serious effort is a joke. I don't think it's a crisis in the Biden White House because I think they like having another couple 100,000 illegal immigrants. And they've invented a brand new, catch and put them on the bus system, sending them all over America without any testing for COVID, without any knowledge of who they are, any knowledge of what's going to happen. And then we think, gee, why do they come here? They're getting a free bus ride. They're getting a great place to live. And if they get to the right state, the Democrats will give them 15 grand. Not a bad deal.
All right. I just wrote down the pandemic is something that we haven't gotten to. I want to be real quick about this. And since Kaylee McEnany is the only person on this panel who has been with the past president who was enforcing Title 42 and making sure that we were doing the things that we needed to do in the middle of the pandemic, I want to get your final thoughts on this topic.
Yeah, look, you had a president in President Trump, who said, how can we solve this with a common sense method? And that common sense method was, let's go to President Obrador. Let's negotiate to have troops on the Mexican border. You had Biden come in, try to roll back everything Trump did. And then he said, oh, wait, let me go back and negotiate to have troops on the border with Mexico. That's common sense, indeed. Then you have the DHS secretary saying we may resume and plug some of the gaps in the wall. These are all tacit admissions that what President Trump did worked, brought down illegal immigration by 78%. Sometimes it's just a matter of common sense. It's just that simple, and not letting the progressive AOCs of the world act as if they are your marionette puppets pulling the strings as your handler.
Well, you can't depend on them.
Yeah.
I mean, AOC hasn't been back to the border taking those
Exactly.
photo ops, right? I mean, she can't depend on her.